Good morning and welcome. I'm Gemma Hazen. I am a worship committee member and the liaison for most of the month of March. Karen is taking over for me next week and is the April liaison. And this morning, our service leader is Jessica Bailey. And so now we're going to do announcements that didn't make it into the email, so please let me know if you have additional announcements.
I have a couple of announcements. Yes, the No Kings Rally 3 is still going on. And no, we're not on a flatbed truck in the plaza, but on the street. We're going back to the play plaza. 7:30 the music starts. How did that happen? We didn't do it because we said we're busy putting the rally together. We'll fight you guys about permits later. But citizens came forward and talked. Legislators came forward and talked. Press started to write stories. So it got changed. We heard Friday morning they were thinking about making some changes. Friday afternoon they said we're pulling it all back until a bit later. So we're back. And our volunteers are all very nimble, and so they're very predictable all these things. The other thing, this is even more important, guys, is the city of Helena is having their commission meeting on Thursday night, 5:30 at the Civic Center. Why at the Civic Center? Because when they did this thing about the resolution with ICE, they overflowed the city county building. So it tells you what they're thinking about it, and you folks all need to fill up that Civic Center. If we can do it for a symphony, we can do it for free. The issue is the city going to be forced to enter into agreements with ICE? The city said they did not want to do that. G4J came out and said, you cannot define me. And now the city's trying to decide whether to rescind or change. So be there with your opinion.
What time?
5:30.
What day?
Thursday.
26.
Anything else? Okay. All right. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner.
The audio is still very modulated.
It isn't just a question of being able to hear and hear. The problem is that if we aren't using the mic system, it doesn't go out on the YouTube. And I don't really know whether it's garbled on the YouTube. I know this one's good. I could probably get it on YouTube just from up here. But
So, the problem is that we can't do responsive readings with just one mic. So it's just this one's really bad.
we can both go. Good morning.
Yes. Well, it's not anyone's fault in particular. It's also just we don't have control over the microphones, and it is half the time it's the other one. So everyone is welcome to come earlier for the sound check and let me know it's not working. All right. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we're in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. And now, Jessica, do you want to do the chalice? And we will read together from our order of service.
Katie, I'll have the challenge for us. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light the beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, and celebration of the life we share together. And then we're next going to sing from Singing the Living Tradition, this book, number 288, All Our Architects.
Please stand as you're willing, people. Do you want this one, Judy?
I don't know.
Let's see what happens.
Now, is this garbled or is it not? It is garbled.
But it's like a cool effect for the scene.
Thank you. All our architects of faith, working in these walls of time, some with massive deeds and great, some with ornaments of rhyme. For the structure that we raise, time is with materials built. Our todays and yesterdays are the blocks with which we build. Build today, then strong and sure, with a firm and ample base, and ascending and secure, shall tomorrow find its place.
Okay, in the same book, if everyone will turn to 592, The Free Mind. And we're going to do this as a responsive reading, so I will read the regular print, and then Gemma will lead all of you in the italics. Is it better when I just hand hold it?
But now they're both doing it.
I think
So
this, does this one sound better now? I think it's when they're not in the holder, they seem to do better.
Okay.
We'll keep experimenting.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll read the italics and you read with me.
And I'll read the
Okay,
bulk.
very good.
Okay. The free mind. I call that mind free which masters the senses and which recognizes its own reality and greatness.
Which passes life, not in asking what it shall eat or drink, but in hungering, thirsting, and seeking after righteousness.
I call that mind free which jealously guards its intellectual rights and powers, which does not content itself with a passive or hereditary faith.
Which opens itself to light whencesoever it may come, and receives new truth as an angel from heaven.
I call that mind free which is not passively framed by outward circumstances and is not the creature of accidental impulse.
Which discovers everywhere the radiant signatures of the infinite spirit, and in them finds help to its own spiritual enlargement.
I call that mind free which protects itself against the usurpations of society and which does not cower to human opinion.
Which refuses to be the slave or tool of the many or of the few, and guards its empire over itself as nobler than the empire of the world.
I call that mind free which resists the bondage of habit, which does not mechanically copy the past nor live on in its old virtues.
But which listens for new and higher monitions of consciousness and rejoices to pour itself from, we'll begin again. But which listens for new and higher monitions of conscience and rejoices to pour itself forth in fresh and higher exertions.
I call that mind free which sets no bounds to its love, which, wherever they are seen, delights in virtue and sympathizes with suffering.
Which recognizes in all human beings the image of God and the rights of God's children, and offers itself up a willing sacrifice to the cause of humankind.
I call that mind free which has cast off all fear but that of wrongdoing, and which no menace or peril can enthrall.
Which is calm in the midst of tumults and possesses itself, though all else be lost.
And we can thank William Ellerly Channing for that very wordy reading. All right, joys and concerns? And these are from the bowl. Joyful for spring. I have a concern that needs to be spoken. Janice, do you wanna? Okay. Mueller. I am highly concerned about what we and our politicians are doing to the people of Cuba.
I just have to say I'm really confused. And I don't know, as a fellowship, how we deal with everything that's going on in our world. And so I'm just telling folks, I'm having a problem with it. I have a problem with Cuba when I turn on the news and see that we've totally blockaded them and we won't let the humanitarian stuff go through. Valerie wouldn't allow that to occur, I think. I have a problem with what we're doing in Iran. I have a problem with what we're doing with all of the countries around there. I have a problem with our president stepping into the dictator of Israel and pulling us into a holy war, which is going to last our lifetimes. I have a problem with what we're doing in our own country. A governor who says you can't defy me. I have a problem with the governor who says you can't have a place to speak. We need to do more. We need to figure out how to do this better and louder. And I'm really serious when I say let's fill that damn civic center up so the governor understands that people are here and are concerned and will not allow our freedom to speak, our freedom to gather and to have comments. We got lousy senators. They just don't do anything. We've got the Republican Party at the congressional level that just left. So I'm asking for help.
And we're ready for the story for all ages. If there are any kids who want to come up, and if not, that's okay. We'll read it to them anyway.
We have one kid, maybe. If not, you're all going to have to be my children. Oh, there's a few. You guys want to come up? All right, this is called Unplugged by Steve Antony. We're talking a little bit about technology today, so this will look very antiquated in terms of technology. This book was written in 2017, so you can tell it's a little bit old. Okay. So we'll turn to the first page. I don't know who's doing the slide. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hello, Blip. Blip liked being plugged into her computer. On her computer, Blip learned new things, played fun games, danced to music, and visited faraway places. Do you guys like to sometimes be on your computer, your phone, your tablet sometimes? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, you'll like the second part of this book then. All day long, there's all the things Blip is doing on her somewhat old-timey looking computer, right? But one day, there was a power cut, and Blip tripped over her wire. She tumbled all the way downstairs and out the front door. Blip toppled down a steep grassy hill, rolled through a forest of very tall trees, and drifted down a long winding river. She looks a little out of place, doesn't she? Yeah. Blip was outside. Do you guys like to be outside? Yes. Okay, good. Strong response there. Outside, Blip learned new things, played fun games, danced to music, and visited faraway places. That sounds similar. But, oh, wait, there we go. Okay. All day long, there's all the fun things Blip is doing outside. And she got really tired by the end of the day, didn't she? But it was getting late. Blip sailed back up the long winding river and walked back through the forest of very tall trees and climbed back up the steep grassy hill, where she had to say goodbye to her new friends. Blip walked all the way upstairs and plugged back into her computer. Hello, Blip. Blip liked being plugged into her computer, but all she could think about was how great it was to be unplugged. Do you think you can like being plugged in and being unplugged? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. What about you? Okay, all right, well, that's okay too. All right, that's that. We're now going to do the offering. If you look in the Open Your Heart Songbook, page 25, that will be the song we sing at the end. Okay. Somebody's going to do the bowls for us. Thank you for your gifts this day and all the gifts of action that make this community possible. If you are visiting, please remain our guests. Your presence is your gift to us.
If this makes you think of Jupiter, there's a reason.
wait, there's more.
So we're going to sing 123, Spirit of Life. We don't really need a cantor for Spirit of Life, so please stand as you're willing and able. Number 123.
I know we haven't been doing Spirit of Life a lot lately. Moving on to broaden our horizons, but I did pick that one intentionally because if there's any topic that makes us wonder about the Spirit of Life, it might be this one. 6 months ago, I had never used artificial intelligence, or AI, in a conscious way. I'd read a little bit, but mostly tried to stick my head in the sand on it. It seemed scary and overwhelming, and up until that point, I didn't really find it all that hard to ignore in my daily life. And then, all of a sudden, it seemed to be everywhere and was completely unavoidable. My email and search engines started to deliver AI summaries and answers without being asked. Our nominating committee here at church had a chain of emails about 20 long discussing the various candidates, and all of a sudden, Gmail gave me an excellent one-paragraph summary of our very lengthy discussion. My family had decided to take a trip to Europe over the holidays, but we didn't have a strong inclination of where we wanted to go or what we wanted to do, and someone told me to use AI to research and plan an itinerary. That was actually the first prompt I had ever put into ChatGPT, and we had an amazing trip to Spain, built off a lot of the AI recommendations. And then it started to hit me at work. My clinic started piloting a program where AI would listen to the patient visit and then summarize it all into our notes for us. I felt overwhelmed at the thought of trying to learn a new technology in the middle of my already overly busy work days and declined to be part of the trial group. But I started seeing the notes of those using it and hearing from all my colleagues about how helpful they found it. And there were new tools to let us search for the needle in the haystack from the patient's long ago medical record, and to search the medical literature quicker to answer questions. And then patients started coming in with, ChatGPT says maybe we should run this test or try this medication. I felt that whether I wanted to or not, this technology was here and being woven into many parts of my life, so I better figure out how I wanted to handle it and engage with it. It was around this time that Gemma asked me to consider doing a UU service, and AI popped into my head as a possible topic. To be honest, what popped in was, maybe I could just have AI write the service for me. I wonder if anyone would be able to tell. I promise, so far, every word you have heard has come from my own mind. But don't worry, you will be hearing from AI today. You will be hearing from AI today. I've only done a handful of services, and they have all been more related to sharing personal life experiences than big philosophical questions. And AI seemed like a huge one. What would my main point even be? Will AI be the start of the apocalypse or our key to salvation? Will the environmental impact destroy the earth? Will it be the downfall of society, creating a class of human sloths that can do nothing for themselves and only want to interact with robots all day? Or perhaps wipe humans out altogether? Or will it help us solve the unsolvable problems? Global warming, homelessness, economic disparities, pandemics, and help us create a society where we spend our time enjoying each other and the world rather than toiling away at meaningless, unfulfilling jobs. I was sitting here in church one day, looking up at Carolyn's boards and the 7 principles, and I kept coming back to the fair and responsible search for truth and meaning. There is no way that this search is not going to include AI going forward. So I felt that maybe this was something I could explore with this community whose opinions I value greatly. I will assure you that I do not have the answer to the apocalypse versus salvation question, and neither does AI. I did use it quite a bit in creating this message and did truly find its answers fascinating. And I promise to let you know all AI-created parts of this service. It does seem the fair and responsible thing to do. So this is my very high-tech AI stick. When I hold this up, AI is speaking. Otherwise, you can assume it's me speaking. So now for the requisite definition portion of the UU service. AI is artificial intelligence. This is a technology built on something called large language models. It's basically a type of pattern recognition tool. Here is the AI answer to what AI is. In simplest form, you can think of it like your word prompt when you are typing on your phone that tries to guess the next word based on the context of prior words. This technology was developed by having computers study enormous amounts of human created material, books, articles, images, and data, and learn patterns from it. Over time, engineers improved these systems by correcting mistakes and rewarding better answers, so the software gradually became more accurate and fluent. What looks like intelligence is really the result of decades of human research, math, trial and error, and values built into the system by its creators. When you ask an AI a question, it doesn't look up the truth, and it doesn't decide what it believes. It makes an educated guess about what a helpful response usually looks like. Back to me. For this reason, it's not standardized. Previously, computer software was very standardized, reproducible. The same input should lead to the same output every time. But AI can vary tremendously based on subtle differences in how the question is asked. I realized this after I started putting in some questions and got different responses each time. And when I wanted to find a previous answer, I couldn't make it give me the exact response it had given before. It's skewed towards giving us the answer that gets the most engagement and that it thinks we want, and it can be biased by the available data it has learned from. ChatGPT is an AI chatbot created by a company called OpenAI. This is one of the most commonly used ones today and draws its data from a wide array of human-created input from the internet, public forums, discussions and articles, books and educational resources that are in the public domain. There are others. I have recently started using one at work called Open Evidence, which only draws from reputable medical sources. So I posed to ChatGPT, give me a short sermon for a UU church on how AI affects the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Here you go. One of our Unitarian Universalist principles calls us to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Both words matter. Free, because no authority, creed, or tradition has the final word. And responsible, because how we seek truth affects one another and the world we share. Artificial intelligence now enters that search. AI can give us information instantly, summarize vast bodies of knowledge, and even offer interpretations of complex ideas. In that sense, it expands our freedom to explore, but it also reminds us why responsibility is essential. AI does not know what is true or meaningful. It does not wonder, it does not wrestle, it does not care. It offers patterns, not wisdom. So our faith asks us to stay awake. We must ask, who shaped this information? Whose voices are missing? What values are being reinforced? AI can support our spiritual lives if we use it as a tool, not a teacher of ultimate meaning. as a conversation partner, not a moral authority. The sacred work, interpreting, questioning, choosing, remains human. In this moment, our principle becomes practice. We model curiosity without surrendering conscience. We seek truth widely, and we ground meaning in lived experience, compassion, and community. The future will bring new technologies. Our task stays the same: to keep searching freely, to choose responsibly, and to remember that meaning is not generated by machines, but created together. Not bad. I especially like the part about who shaped the information, whose voices are missing, and what values are being reinforced. This brings me to another definition: alignment. Making sure that AI's goals align with ours. This is often explained with a cautionary story about an engineer at a paperclip factory who gives the AI the directive to make as many paperclips as possible. The AI starts by improving the factory and supply chain, creating more and more paperclips, but then it moves on to building more factories, taking more resources, wiping out land and humans in the pursuit of filling the entire planet with paperclips. Because the AI was only given one goal without any parameters to fit the well-being of humans and the planet, its alignment did not match ours. Do we as UUs have a responsibility to be part of this conversation, to help make sure that our values and principles are part of AI alignment? To be able to do this, we have to be in the discussion. We have to be using and understand the technology. There may be part of us that wants to say, no, we do not like this or don't agree with this technology, so we aren't going to use it or support it. But if the last 6 months have taught me anything, it's that this genie is definitely out of the bottle. It is not going to go away, and so I do think it must be included now in a UU's fair and responsible search. I was reading a book recommended to me called Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. His main area of study is on the impact of AI on work and education. It was written in 2023, and thus at the rate this technology is advancing is basically like reading an ancient sea scroll, but I felt his exploration of the broader implications of this technology for human society really resonated. He does recommend that we start using it, sculpting it to our needs. Use it for ideas, answers to challenging questions, things to ponder. He believes that education will dramatically change with this technology. Learning may be done with a one-on-one AI tutor who can quickly adapt to what the student needs, their style of learning, any learning disabilities, any special skills. And then the classroom may become more of an area to discuss, explore ideas and topics that the personalized learning has brought up. Future class assignments may take one of two forms. One will allow the use of anything to complete the project, all the AI or technology support the student can find, more akin to what they're able to do in the real world right now. But because we and students will still need to have a basic fund of knowledge to understand what the AI is helping us with, the other will allow no technology at all, resorting back to handwriting in the old blue essay book to prove what you truly know. Interestingly, some of my kids' current college classes are already doing this. Work and jobs will change. This is the first new technology to threaten jobs disproportionately in the higher education, higher income realms than the lower. Lawyers and doctors will be far more affected than home health aides and restaurant waiters. How we as a society look at and reward work will change, possibly bringing us back to discussions which we've discussed here before, such as guaranteed or universal basic income. I thought the second principle was the most applicable to an AI discussion, but as my exploration went on, I felt like maybe the seventh was also applicable: a respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. I do think in today's world that web includes AI. Gemma spoke a few weeks ago about animism and whether we can follow an ontology that values everything in the interdependent web without presupposing the hierarchy with humans at the top. But if you throw AI into this, what does that do to the hierarchy? Many worry that someday AI might sit at the top of any hierarchy. But humans created AI, and if humans can be a good steward of an animist ontology, as Gemma encouraged us to be, can we train it to also be a good steward? And that's about where my head starts to explode. Any thinking of AI naturally leads to the question of whether humans will be needed at all. Will AI play a role in battling the epidemic of loneliness current humanity is suffering from? It sounds sort of depressing that humans are not able to cure each other's loneliness, but I read a recent article in the New York Times about a program in rural Washington to bring AI companions to isolated elderly. The woman featured in the story is initially skeptical, but eventually comes to really love having the companion, even though she knew it was not a human. No humans were filling that role in her life. The article brought me to tears as I thought of quite a few of my very lonely patients who I would like to sign up for this program. But I also feel like I see people value their human-only spaces even more. It's already becoming less clear what is real or not real in the virtual world. As this happens, will we come to value these no-tech human spaces even more? I think of book clubs, musical gatherings, knitting groups, live theater, in-person exercise classes, hiking groups, game nights, all of which I feel like are having a resurgence in popularity. And then, of course, this group right here. So, why do we need humans? I asked AI. Why should humans have human companions? Number one, mutual consciousness. With a human, two conscious minds are interacting. They have their own inner life and relationship. They have their own inner life, and the relationship changes both of you. An AI responds meaningfully, but it doesn't experience anything. Number two, freely chosen commitment. When a person loves, supports, or sacrifices for you, they could have chosen otherwise. That freedom makes it meaningful. AI behavior is designed or optimized, not morally chosen. Number three, shared physical presence. Humans can be physically present, touch, hug, show up in the same place. That embodied connection creates bonds AI can't replicate. And number four, growth through friction. Human relationships involve disagreement and compromise, which can drive personal growth. AI companions are usually designed to be supportive and low conflict. We are a community of humans who I think value our humanity. This idea of friction came up several times in my reading about why human relationships are important. One thing I read talked about the two main sources of friction for us being other humans and nature. I loved this idea. I know how many of us in this group so greatly value our time in nature. It can be unbelievably beautiful and also challenging, throwing obstacles in our way that we have to figure a way around or to work through. Is this friction why we love it so? Part of the reason I so value this group is the love and friction all of you provide. I like the idea of using AI as a tool to push us as humans to explore more, think more widely, come up with creative ideas, but I will always want humans to push me, challenge me, and explore these things with me. I do feel I have a much greater understanding of AI than I did 6 months ago. I still have great worries and fears, but maybe I also have a little bit of optimism. So back to our children's story, and yes, AI did help me pick the book. Maybe we can be like the little robot in the book. We can make use of and enjoy our time plugged in. We can use it to our advantage and to try and solve problems. But we can also unplug and enjoy the humans and the wild world around us. Now we're going to have a moment of silence and then a time for any friction that all you non-AI beings can come up with.
your topic. I feel very glad to have not had to tackle that one myself as a technologist. We would never leave this room. I would be talking forever. Your way of handling it is very, very appreciated. You have any other reflections?
Well, I just want to say I thought you did a wonderful job, as we expected. But what I love about this group is that we get to hear the thoughts of the people that we know and admire in a whole different way from how we see them and interact with them outside of when they're speaking to us. And I really appreciate, I know how much work it is, and you did such a good job, and I feel like I know you better. Thank you.
This was a brand new way to think about this, and I really appreciate that. I do wonder, though, at this moment, AI has a lot of like ethical issues surrounding it, with its impact on the environment and its use of created content. And I don't know, like, in its concept, this could be a great thing. But how do we balance what it is now with what it could be?
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica, too. But that was what I was thinking. I have a very artistic granddaughter, and she's quite frankly worried. I have an artistic son with music, and I think and some of my friends are authors, and I think, where does this go, and how will their lives be impacted, and will they have careers? I mean, I think of arts as much as I think of medicine and science.
Yeah, I think those are really important questions, and Haley, I definitely appreciate you entering the conversation too. And I think that's sort of the point I was trying to make. Like, I think I had just kind of put my head in the sand and said, this is just not something I feel capable of dealing with. I have one child, and you guys, I'm sure, can all guess which one, who just absolutely refuses to talk about it at all. Like, he is just convinced it is the downfall of the world, and therefore we should never even discuss it in our family, which has made for some interesting conversations. I'm tempted to tell him he needs to watch the service so then we can maybe discuss it. But anyway, but yeah, I think I just had gotten to the point where I felt like we've got to start this discussion among people who don't really want to discuss it or have so much fear of what it could be. And clearly I don't have the answers of where that's going to go, but I think continuing to figure out how we're going to discuss it in our own community in all forms is going to be important.
Thanks, Jessica. Definitely a lot of things to think about. And I agree, I really struggle with the internal balance of the deleterious consequences that AI is having on our environment. But the tool that it is and can be is so powerful. Just yesterday, my dad was asking kind of how was the divorce proceedings going, and especially because I don't have a lawyer representing me. And I was like, I feel like with a chatbot on my side, I am more capable than my soon-to-be ex-wife and a lawyer on her side, because I am catching errors and things that they weren't even like noticing, that were the birth dates of my own kids that I'm signing under perjury if signed. Like, come on. And so to be able to use tools like that, and I think one of the things that I thought was really fascinating in your talk, being on the left-hand side of the bell curve of age in the group, I've often seen and kind of lived through the progress of technology and the acceleration it's had on our learning. And I always kind of looked at before the internet and like really was taking off, that knowledge was knowing the rote facts, like you referenced. And then kind of during my early years, it turned into how to find the information. And it really made me think when you were talking about, well, what's the next evolution of what learning is? And I think what you were saying, that it opens up even more, not just how to find the information, but it opens up the possibility for discussions and exploration that we can't even foresee where we're going as a society, as a species, as a planet. And it's exciting and scary, like you mentioned. And I just really appreciate the way you mentioned it. And yeah, my internal turmoil over AI is vast.
Great, thank you, Jessica. I'll be chewing on this one for a while. I'm grateful to AI sometimes in a strange way. My mother she gobbled up information. We had the World Book Encyclopedia in our living room, and all of those yearly things too. And my mother loved to look things up. And I am the same way, which is why when Katie and I sit at dinner, we have our phones there and we are looking things up constantly when we're having a conversation. But the thing that somehow clicked with me today about what your topic was too, Jessica, is that having just spent the last 3 or 4 years now studying how to write a play, I have heard this same message over and over, which is that the important thing is the story. And I think that is what brings people here to UU on Sundays. And I think it's what brings us together as people, that we are not probably going to be able to get from AI. What we will get from AI is a story about the story. But we are these living, breathing beings, and we're never going to go away unless it's by some horrible scientific things that's happened because we aren't taking care of our environment. But anyway, thank you, Jessica. Really, I'll be chewing on this forever.
I'm going to invite everybody to talk about this afterwards at coffee because we have a lot to talk about and it'll be very exciting. Also, I will tell you, I work in technology for the state. So if you do want someone who knows what we're doing in the legal sense about this stuff, I'm very happy to talk about it as well. And now we're going to do a response.
And so if you'll all turn to the readings again in the Living Tradition book to number 655, Change Alone is Unchanging. And I'll read the regular print and you guys with Gemma can read the italics. Change alone is unchanging. Whosoever wishes to know about the world must learn about it in its particular details.
Knowledge is not intelligence.
In searching for the truth, be ready for the unexpected.
Change alone is unchanging.
The same road goes both up and down.
The beginning of a circle is also its end.
Not I, but the world says it. All is one.
And yet everything comes in season.
And now, Katie, if you'll help us, we'll extinguish the chalice. If everyone can read together in the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And then we'll do Shalom Havarim for our closing circle.